हेलो दोस्तों, आई होप यू आर डूइंग वेल। आशा करता हूँ आप बहुत अच्छे होंगे। टुडे आई एम गोइंग टू डिस्कस one of topic which is really important whenever like you are working as a Azure architect role or cloud solution architect or enterprise architect you are working. So this is really mandatory to understand that how you are going to decide the landing zone, because what exactly the landing zone thing. So before planning and everything to place your resources there, so the word comes in a mind, that is landing zone. So here I will talk about briefly, so that will be very easy to understand. And whenever you are doing some planning, so how you are deciding to place your workload, or whether you are looking from migration of on-prem to Azure cloud or AWS cloud. So whenever you are placing your workloads, so here first of all I would like to tell you what exactly the Azure Landing Zone. So basically, Azure Landing Zone is a pre-configured environment that provides a secure and scalable and well managed foundation and cloud adoption and application deployment. So it's ensure that governance, security, networking and compliances are implemented correctly from the start. So we will talk about step by step about the Azure Landing Zone creation. What are the basic points which we need to uh, remember, and what are the prerequisites are there which you need to take in our mind. So first of all, I'll talk about with the starting point number one, define business and technical requirements. So here, whenever like any customers comes with you and he is looking for any uh, like resources to deploy on Azure cloud, or whether he comes to you like he wanted to migrate some Azure on-prem data center resources to Azure cloud. So in that manner, like you need to understand what exactly the business they are doing and what are the technical requirements they are looking for. So these things you need to keep in mind before proceeding anything. So you need to do some workshop with them and then understand the requirement, whether what type of workloads are running there, like what type of technology stacks they are using, whether do they have any DR sites already there, and how many databases there. And so identify the business objectives and workloads that will be deployed in Azure. So like whenever we are planning some connectivity from Azure to data center, so we have to keep in mind like how much data size are there. So whether this is in a GB or whether this is in TB, and how many file shares are there. So these things, this is the and what is the customer expectations in future, like what is his objective with the whatever the resources he is going to deploy. So you need to keep in mind first and need to do workshop with the customer and understand the requirement. And point number two, define the required scalability and availability and security. So here like 3 points we discussed: scalability, availability and security. So all 3 points are very important and necessary for the Azure landing zones. So basically, whenever we talk about the scalability, so scalability, that means like how much your environment is scalable in terms of any unpredicted load comes on the infra or any application on any databases. So let's suppose we will talk about in very layman language. So you have one of application, that is e-commerce applications. So on big billion sales, like lots of workloads by users comes, and you don't have decided your in the terms of scalable environment. So your application goes fail, and like performance will not be better. So you can understand the things before placing any resources. So like for scaling, we have auto scaling features are available there. So immediately, like, you can understand whether vertical scalability is required, horizontal scalability is required. So you can configure such type of rules and thresholds value. So on that particular value your CPU or memory reaches, so the new instances will be added. So your like application get required resources, so you don't have any problem regarding that. And availability means, like, suppose you know very well, whenever we provide any services to any customer, so like SLA comes in a pictures, service level agreement. So like how many uh, hours or how many times your service continues 24 across 7 service will be available without non disruption. So like this should not be a interrupt any your application and database anything. Due to that, users should not face any issue. So in terms of that, you need to take care availability as well. And security, so security is of course the major concern, because whenever we are planning to this planning any solution, so nowadays you know very well, like multiple attacks are going on. So for that, keep in mind, we have to think like which security appliance where we need to place, whether we should utilize web application firewall, or whether we should utilize DDoS attacks on Azure Defender and Azure Sentinels. So multiple types of appliances are available. So we should keep in mind before planning any solution where I have to put this appliance to restrict the unnecessary attacks by outsiders. So whatever the traffic is coming from the outside, so you can with the help of appliance, that data can be inspected properly first, and unnecessary or like unused traffic can be blocked. So in that perspective, that will be very easy to plan or restrict or making a secure landing zone. And apart from that, the third point I'll talk about here, the compliance. So of course, because every country has their own government compliance. Like if I talk about the UK, so UK government works according to the GDPR. So what are the data policies are there? So suppose if you are doing a business, then if customer data breach due to some security issue, so that you need to pay huge penalty there. So you need to keep in mind whether this data should not replicate with the another region. So these things we should keep in mind. Like some country use HIPAA, some use ISO 27001. So such type of things we need to keep in mind, and in that way we need to plan our landing zone, so we don't lose our customer data due to some security breaches or our wrong planning. So these things are really mandatory before starting of creation of landing zone. So, and whether we need to know like where, in which data center, which region I need to place the resources for the particular country users. So I'll talk about one of example here. So let's suppose you have one of application, and that is some banking application, and like few your users accessing from the UK and few users from the South Africa, but you want to place the single resources for uh, complete application. So in that situation, you need to think whether UK users database should not replicate with the South Africa users, because South Africa is a different continent and UK is a different continent. So these things you keep in mind, and you should plan in a better way the data approach, or whatever the database you are using, whether SQL database, whether Cosmos DB. So such type of things you need to keep in mind. So this is the like very very important things before creating the landing zone. You should get to know and work your homework before presenting to the any customer. If you are going to present as a infrastructure architect or cloud solution architect, so this is really good things. And apart from that, another point I'll come, choosing landing zone design approach. So what type of design you are choosing for your landing zone? So this is really necessary to planning or creating any architecture diagram. So or you can do your rough paper or work before planning anything. So that is three type of things comes here. Like Azure offers multiple landing zone design options. Like first of all, enterprise scale landing zone. So enterprise scale landing zone, that means for large organization with a multiple workflow, like more than 1000 or more than 500 or 1000 2000 servers you are using, or web applications, multiple web applications you are using. So worldwide, more than 100 countries your services offering, and product is a very vast product. So that thing you need to take care in the mind before while doing the workshop with the customer. And CAF basically, number two is CAF. So Cloud Adoption Framework Landing Zone. So Cloud Adoption Framework Landing Zone, it's based on Microsoft best practices. Like Microsoft decide and provide some recommendation as per your workload, as per your resources. So these things you need to keep in mind. And apart from that, modular landing zone. Modular landing zone, this is for smaller teams, smaller project that need flexibilities. So like you can deploy such type of modular landing zones for the such type of smaller organizations. So this is the things you need to take care. So I have provided some information before designing any landing zone. You need to think about that, and you can grow in your career as a solution architect, and you can work and you can prepare before presenting as a solution architect. So thank you so much for listening me, and keep enjoying and keep watching. Thanks.